if the city finds that you're still listing without having a registration number after November 1st, there's gonna be attempts to locate it. And what'll probably happen is you'll get a letter, maybe your landlord will get a letter, your property owner will get a letter, you'll get a letter, just reminding you that the home sharing ordinance went into effect and you need a registration number, and please either register or take down in a set amount of time, or fines could accrue. So there'll probably probably two warning letters. At this point, we want to make sure we give people time. We're not trying to be punitive, but we do need compliance. So the idea is that you'd be given ample opportunity to either come and register or remove that listing, or change your calendar to more than 31 days, so then you're exempt from the ordinance altogether. If it does get to a point where we don't have compliance, it's going to be likely kind of this citation program we have. It's just different. It's just, we just want to make sure it's not a criminal violation or anything like that. This is like just a citation, just like a ticket, being used for like dog ticketing. It's a kind of a new thing for the city. I don't need to bore you with it, but it's essentially it's a fine. It's a ticket. It's a citation that would come after there's not been a lack of compliance. That process does have a whole appeal process. You can challenge it. It's through the Office of City Attorney, but that'll start a sort of a collection process as well. Yeah, I'll tell you in just 1 second. It's on the next screen. So this is generally going to be about, again, advertising without registration numbers or exceeding that 120-day cap. So it's sort of proactive enforcement, whereas I talked about the challenge before was having to actually have an inspector come out there and knock on your door and figure out what's going on. We're finding the most effective ordinances across the country are sort of just looking at the advertising as the main source of violations, but it could be a violation even without advertising. It's still a violation to just do home sharing, but this is going to be a main way the city enforces. Okay, so here's what the fine is. The fine would be the greater of $500 a day, or 2 times your nightly rate, whichever is greater. And I'll tell you, we're not going to like go and I don't think the intent is to go toll up your last 20 days and multiply that times 500 and get thousands of dollars from you. I think the initially thing would just be one $500 fine, but the city does have the right, especially if you're not responding, to amplify those and start looking and start documenting, and the fines could accrue and the fines could get higher if there's a lack of compliance. I mentioned fines are only going to be levied after ample warning. Beyond the 120-day limit, it gets a little more serious, $2,000 to go beyond that limit. So keep track of your 120 days. We're going to also try to help you, and if you're getting close, let you know, but you're primarily responsible for keeping track of your days. And so if you think you're getting close, we go try for extended home sharing. It's available for everybody to go year-round through a separate process I'll talk about in a second.
Separate citations and fines for housing platforms? So if
Yes,
you're on 4 different sites, you can get hit $2,000 4 times?
No, so sorry, thank you for clarifying that. This is meant to say that the city also put significant responsibilities on the hosting platforms, on Airbnb and VRBO and these platforms, because we think they have a role to play as well in helping the city enforce the ordinance. So they can be, at the same time we find your listing on a website, we're probably also going to send a letter to the website and say, by the way, you're not supposed to be booking listings that are illegal after November 1st. So there are fines that can accrue to platforms for illegal bookings. That's even more expensive than these. And we also ask the platforms to share some very basic information with us, and we're trying to really pare that down where we don't need. The ordinance talks about